Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Nishta. As you're all aware, Nishta is the platform which helps all of us to demystify leadership. I'm Suba Lakshminarasimhan, your executive leadership coach, ICF and EMCC credentialed coach. I predominantly work with CDE suite professionals, support organizations to build their leadership pool at the executive level. Specifically, there are two different areas I work with. One is workplace conflict management, and then the second is emotional management, where I'm specialized in. So today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Venkata Subbarao. Welcome, Venkat.
Yeah.
To Nishta.
Really happy to be part of this podcast and see how I can learn more from the interaction and then share my experiences. And if it could be of any benefit to even at least one, I'm sure we both are successful in this endeavor.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, Mr. Venkat comes with 25 years of work experience in the field of traffic and transportation. He has been bringing in solutions to solve a lot of community-related challenges when it comes to traffic and transportation. Some of the notable projects he involved include Bandra-Worli Sea Link, more than 500 kilometers of BOT highways, toll roads, Mumbai Metro Rail, Hubli-Dharwad BRTS ITS, Bhubaneswar Smart City, Integrated Traffic Management System, ITMS for Hyderabad, Toll Management System for NECE Corridor Bangalore, RFID-based container tracking systems for a major Indian port. I'm so happy to talk about ASTraM, which is his current project. So crucial for all of us in Bangalore, specifically, actionable intelligence for sustainable traffic management. He is the director and head of India Operations Architects Group. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm very, very happy to have you here, mainly because of all the critical problems that you have been solving. Yeah. So I am the direct user of, all the problems that you are solving, right? So I would like to kind of, jump in into talking about all these, community-centric challenges, the problems that you and your organizations have been, managing, mitigating, making our lives easier for, everyone, right? Something about that journey, Mr. Venkat.
Yeah. Okay. I think one of the important things as you talked about this community-related problem solving, which is actually, this has been driving my career decisions from the day one. In fact, when I was actually doing my graduation, so I think you also remember, you also are the contempt of the same times. And then IT was the one which was actually driving most of our dreams. Everybody wants to be flying the IT planes. And fortunately for me, at every inflection point in life, I've been guided by very good teachers. I think that's something I owe my teachers a lot, because they have been instrumental in all my decisions. Like when I was doing my graduation, Professor Srinivasulu was the HOD of my college civil engineering department. And then he was actually encouraging me to go and be part of those very large infrastructure projects which are actually transformational in nature. Like, for example, every summer he used to be pushing me to one of those project sites, because he was very renowned engineer in those days, and then he used to be having his students at all those places, like third Godavari bridge that was actually getting constructed in Rajahmundry. He is one of the sites that he put me there, and that was the first pre-stress concrete bridge that was actually being constructed in India, right? And that gave me a very interesting insight about how large structures are actually, structural engineering solutions are actually leading to economic way of doing things and achieving the outcomes. And the other time, coincidentally, in one of the other summers, if you go to Hyderabad, you'll actually see the large Buddha statue that was erected on Hussain Sagar Lake. That was actually a large monolithic statue, one of the heaviest and one of the tallest one at those times. was to be moved from the land to the land to the island in the Hussain Sagar. They were moving on the barge mounted chain of barges, and then that fell into the Hussain Sagar because of malfunction of one of the pumps. And that was a major engineering problem that at that time the engineers were trying to see how they can bring that out and again erect it in the place. So he sent me there when that was actually action was actually happening. So these kind of instances have actually always triggered my and nurtured my passion towards these large infra projects and community oriented projects. And that's when he inspired me to actually take up masters. And that's when I went to IIT Bombay for doing my masters. And as like any other master's graduate, I was actually aspiring to be doing my masters in structural engineering. So that was the main dream of every civil engineer to actually pursue structural engineering. And at that time, I actually met Professor Sikdar, who was my guru again. And he was actually trying to tell me why you want to choose structural. And when you know the traffic and transportation engineering is one of the things that would touch everybody's life every day. And he was trying to inspire me about the kind of impact that we can actually cause with those kind of projects, and which inspired me. And he selected me in his team, and then that's how I got into traffic and transportation, and I never looked back again after that. And even at that point in time, when I was coming out of masters from IIT Bombay, uh, it was the 2000s and then Y2K, and a lot of IT thing was actually going on, and we have been offered in Tata's and Infosys offers were actually awaiting us in IITs, and then that was the time he strictly warned me. I said, like, after having done so much of learning in this domain, I would not recommend that you would actually go to IT. And then he said, like, you should be holding back to the core domain. I said, like, I followed him. And then today, even today, when we both meet and then we talk about, I always thank him for what I've been in the position for what I am today. And then how he has been instrumental in making driving my decisions at those inflection points. And then I've never looked back. And I'm very happy about those decisions where I've been part of large infra projects like Bandra, Sea-Link, or whether we call it as a Mumbai Metro, one of the first metro master plans that was actually created in those days. And then I was also part of technology oriented solutions for traffic management. I was part of Smart City program when the Smart City mission got initiated. We were part of the first number one. Bhubaneswar has been ranked number one in those days, and we were part of the proposal that was created, and then I was fortunately be part of that project. Then subsequently, various other initiatives in terms of electronic tolling system that was actually getting deployed, FASTag system, RFID-based FASTag system, and I was part of the first RFID tolling solution that was actually deployed in India, even before the FASTag came into picture. And also today we were part of the project actually did the container tracking, which was one of the instrumental things for defining the business index, the ease of doing business index. And that was one of the key projects which was driving the index. And we were tracking the container movement to eliminate the inefficiencies and delays in holding back the containers utility. And that has now driven, and that project has gone leaps and bounds now, covering up all the ports. So and today we are actually I'm happy to share with you that post the September 27th debacle of one of the largest jams that the Bangalore has actually witnessed last year. And we were actually invited by the Bangalore Traffic Police to provide some inputs, and one of the ideas that we actually proposed has strike them, and then they said, like, they would like to go ahead with this idea. And then today we are there with them, handholding them and setting up a state of the art big data analytics, AI platform to actually provide them better situational awareness and providing them actionable intelligence, and then making sure that every stakeholder is getting right information, seamless sharing of information, monitor the performance, especially whenever we take any decision and whenever we actually are setting up a new plan, it's always important to actually go through how it is being performing, right? Most of our customers, in ensuring that there is performance orientation, has been one of the key criteria. So this has been my journey, and I'm very happy to be part of those, and very fortunate to be. And during this part, I've been working with some of the fabulous customers who are highly inspired and highly oriented towards solving problems, and also have been working with one of the best teams. I owe a lot to my teams who have been part of my journey, and then unless without them, it's been not been a possibility for what I am today, or part of what solutions that we designed and implemented I am today.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, whenever we travel outside India, right, looking at especially the so-called developed countries, right? So, for example, Dubai or USA or some European countries, when you look at the infrastructure, with which we navigate through the roads or something. Even if you travel for 3 hours, 4 hours, you don't feel tired, right?
Correct.
So even though you may be traveling in a very high tech car or something, the roads make a huge difference, right? The navigation and everything.
Not only that, the most important thing that we see in a global developed economy is that you are not just experiencing a better travel while you are in a car, but also in public transport.
Absolutely.
And how seamless it is, and how accessible they are being made, and how does it actually promote people walking, right? The infrastructure which actually makes walking and bicycling so safe in those areas. I think that's what we have to be learning our lessons, right, in making communities more accessible with non-motorized transport, and improving the walkability, and ensuring that we are actually able to use cycling for immediate neighborhood access needs.
Absolutely.
So those are big lessons. I think I'm sure we are on the right track. Both at the center and the state level and the city level, people are quite aware of what need to be done. There is enough momentum that is actually getting picked up, but I think we have a long way to go.
Absolutely.
It's not just, but I think we are there in that transformational journey today.
Okay, and also at the same time, I would like to mention how the system is also changing. Say, for example, I think 21 or 22, 2021 and 22, when we went to Chennai from Bangalore during Diwali time, when we were returning on Sunday, we were returning. Near that Hosur, we were like stagnated in that toll for almost 1.5 hours. But today, even if I travel during the peak hours, right, we are able to pass through because of that fast track.
Right? Yeah.
So in between there were people manning, but now that it is completely systematic and system centric, right? So we, of course, we do see the changes which are happening amidst all the challenges. I'm sure that leadership that you are all bringing in here, that is making all the difference. For example, Bandra-Worli, I've been there. Beautiful experience. Yeah. So when you can give such beautiful experience to the end user, there is a huge participation contribution as a leader, right? It is there. It is visible, right? So something from that space, if you can shed light on the leadership, that would be great.
Yeah. So, Shubhaji, one of the important things that I learned in my whole career is the leadership doesn't mean that you are in a position to become a leader. Like you can be a leader while being one of the entry level engineer as well, right? And at the same time, you can be a leader managing a few team members, or you can be a leader being at the position automatically demands you to be a good leader, right? But the positions of being an entry-level engineer or a mid-level manager or those kind of things, they don't demand. But then if you are able to demonstrate leadership, that's where you actually get recognized and be transformational. So that's one of the biggest beliefs that I always had, and which has actually driven me all the times. And then to do what you need to do, and then and trying to see, don't limit yourself by the position that you are in. I think that, and be beyond the, think beyond the line. I think that's very important for anyone to start thinking. Like, for example, when I started my career, Bandra-Worli Sea Link, the project that we actually designed, most of the people were actually critical about those. Why do we need to spend so much money on those kind of projects? But today, once that, and the project has taken about 10 years for it to come from the drawing board to the field, right? That's the most unfortunate side of the story that we are actually seeing. Even today, when Bangalore needs infrastructure, and people only insist that all the money has to go only in public transport and not on the hard infrastructure, it's not a right thinking, what I actually strongly believe, right? So we need a balanced thinking that needs to come in. So someone needs to be doing that job. Number two important point is, I think one of the important lessons that I learned in the leadership is that we need to think big, right? Important is that if you only try to be part of the problem, be within the problem and try to work around, it has never, though it may solve the problem temporarily.
I'm sorry, again, I lost you.
The larger picture, right? So it is important. The other thing I was actually telling, one of the second lessons that I had in my journey is that rather than being in the problem and trying to solve it has never been a transformative change. What is important is you need to be doing a right solutioning. You need to be out of the problem and then thinking about it, and having a big picture when trying to solve a problem is always driving. Like, for example, when we try to most of the times clients come to us saying that, okay, there is a problem at this particular junction, it is more congested all the times. So a solution to that particular problem is, okay, you try to build a flyover, or you actually try to do an underpass and then try to solve the problem. So, but what you are trying to do is you are actually trying to now shift the problem from one point to the other point. So it doesn't solve on the problem on its own. So what is important is try to think about what is it that is creating the problem? What is the root cause, right? And also think about, is this problem temporal, or is this problem going to be a long-term problem, right? How that by change in ecosystem in about 5 to 10 years down the line, because any infrastructure that you do, it's going to be 30, 40 years, right? So what is important for us is to think about how the ecosystem is actually going to change when these kind of hard infrastructures are going to be put in place. So think about how I do a solutioning, which is not only addressing the current problem, but also has to solve the problem for a long-term tenure. So I think that's one of the important things, that lessons that I actually had. The third important point is technology to a large extent has a lot of good solutions. So we need to make sure that we harp on technology, but don't get mired up by technology being an end in itself. Most of the times, the biggest challenge that we see today is people actually think that by deploying technology, I will solve the problem. No, the solutioning actually is, technology becomes only a vehicle towards solving the problem. It is only a means to an end, but not the end in itself. So that's very important for need to be understanding. Like, for example, setting up the camera for surveillance doesn't solve the security problem. What is important is you need someone to actually create a use case through which someone is monitoring, and the person who is monitoring has the capability to monitor and respond to situations.
Absolutely.
When something is going wrong, to system to detect the incident, and then when the incident is detected, how do I respond to that? So there has to be a outcome oriented. Have I responded to it on time, and have I responded to it rightly? Right time and in a right way, and have we been able to successfully achieve my KPIs, right? So that's very important for us to understand. So that has been a very big lesson for me throughout my career. The uh, fourth important point that I've actually understood is collaborative working. Yes, we create an environment for people to work in a collaborative manner. It's going to be very, very challenging for us to achieve what we are actually intending to achieve. So when especially in both within the company as well as outside, when we actually work with the customers, even now when we are working with Bangalore Traffic Police on the ASTraM initiative. So what we have actually created a platform is a data collaborative platform wherein without a single rupee investment on a hard infrastructure or a sensors on the ground, we are now trying to collect the data from all the key stakeholders potentially, and then trying to see how that provides insights and how we are actually able to use technology to drive the solutions based on that, and how we can not only taking the information data, but also how I can share that information back to those key stakeholders. That's the collaboration. Collaboration is all about give and take. Absolutely. Right? It's not just only take all the times or maybe give all the times. So it needs to be a collaborative environment which actually enforces give and take philosophy. So that's very important. Or even if you're actually taking any initiatives internally for engaging with teams or performance orientation of the teams, it's always important. Reward and recognition is very important. At the same time, putting up penalties of non-performance is also important. You need to have carrot and stick approach all the time. So that's very important for you to, when you design schemes or design solutions, that's very important.
Actually, the second part that you mentioned, right? Yeah. Zooming out to look at what is happening and then jump in and find the solution. Instead of, because once you are inside the problem, the mind is going to be clouded with problems. Correct. So it may filter out certain elements when it comes to finding the solution. Yeah? And the fourth one, that collaborative, right? So of course, especially when it comes to community projects, but it's going to create an impact to to everyone in the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
It's not only people who are living, also people who are visiting. For example, so I think last year when this stand-up comedian came from somewhere to when he was not able to reach, it spoiled the brand value of not only Bangalore but the whole India.
Yeah. In fact, I remember on September 27th event that I was actually mentioning, there were about four or five global CEOs who got stuck, and then they were even considering moving out their operations from Bangalore. That's a big blow to the brand Bangalore, right? Absolutely. So I think there is very important inflection point for us to actually come up with solutions which are long-standing. Absolutely,
right? Because the impact is not just about reaching somewhere on time. It's beyond. It's bigger than that. Much bigger than the simple problems that we talk about, right? So it's like psychologically it may be impacting people. We do not know what all the areas that it is impacting people. The impact will be different.
Why would someone want? In fact, one of the key things that now we probably in a month's time, you will also see the new solutioning that we are coming up with.